No character has ever captivated the One Piece fan base like Rox D. Xebec. He is a prime example of the effectiveness of propaganda because, let's all admit it, we fell for it. It's a little funny to me because when you look at the things that we're told about him, like him being Roger's greatest foe and Blackbeard's father, it's almost like we're reading the story, waiting on him to show himself to be this piece of trash that we expect him to be, and it just never happens. I mean, yeah, he did use a weapon against Kid Loki, but I think we can all agree that Loki was not a normal kid. Anyway, as great as his impact was on not only just the One Piece world, but the fan base itself, I do have a lot of questions still left about Rox, and hopefully we can work our way through these questions in this video and try to come to some pretty good answers because it's going to be really important for some of the stuff we're going to learn along the lines. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to it. This is the legacy of Rox D. Xebec, who is arguably the greatest pirate of all time. But first, please leave a like and subscribe. This is not random. I'm asking for a reason. We've been growing a lot, and I truly do. I cannot express how much I appreciate the love I've been getting so far. So let's try to keep it going and build a real community. So to me, the most important question about Rox, and this can also relate to a couple of other pirates from the past who I'll speak on in some other videos, is how do they have so much access to information that normal people don't have? Rox knows a lot. Before he got started as a pirate, his introduction to the world at large is him pulling up to the flower room and confronting Emu and telling him, "I will be back here." Nobody that is a rookie pirate in this day and age has that type of information just on standby. It seemed like back in those days, he was more of a revolutionary than a pirate, or to most folks, just some type of annoying hoodlum, but that's how the One Piece world portrays you when you do anything that bears your teeth as the government. But that being your first major event is really massive, so you came into this pirating world having a lot of knowledge, and a plan that you were ready to go ahead and put into action. Now we know this plan of his revolved around two certain devil fruits. One of them has been confirmed to be the Needhog fruit that Loki has eaten, but it's not confirmed what the other fruit is. I'm going to tackle that question in another section, but I do have a theory about God Valley that I think can answer this question of how Rox has so much information. I believe that God Valley was a refuge for D-Clan members after the big war with Emu, maybe the people of the ancient kingdom themselves. I think this is somewhat confirmed for the Davy clan, but I think this counts for the D-Clan as a whole. Because of this, these people will have access to a lot more verified information about what actually happened to the world at large, and that would lead to Rox having enough information at his fingertips to formulate a plan to go ahead and take over the world, or in some people's eyes, reclaim it. I even look at the name of the island. I see God Valley in my One Piece brain activates because I started seeing Go D Valley. And yeah, that might sound like a meme at first, but what if the name itself was a code? Go to D Valley. This is where you can escape to, where we can go ahead and try to survive and keep passing down knowledge amongst our descendants. This area could have served this role for centuries, and that's maybe why Shanks' family could have also been pretty important, because his mom lived here. And maybe she wasn't a Davy clan member, but she could have been another D-Clan family member. That red hair is definitely going to be important, I'm sorry. But anyway, let's move on to the devil fruit, because I really am interested in this part. And there are two pretty obvious answers here, of course. The Nika fruit or the Yami fruit. Yami Yami no Mi, which probably is going to have a different name by the time we get around to it. Now, we can safely assume that one of these fruits is the one that Rox wanted as a part of his plan. But I know Oda. And I know that Oda loves to subvert expectations. Sometimes this can be a weakness of his. Now, maybe it was neither of these fruits, but instead a third mystery fruit that we have not seen yet or seen in use yet. And that fruit could belong to a really important character. And I think that the character who has the fruit that Rox wanted for his plan is none other than Monkey D. Dragon. Now, I know what you guys are about to say. Crow, this is your monthly dragon propaganda. Please. We're good. Please, bro, just hear me out. I'm not being random here. I really do think that there is something here. I spoke earlier about how all of Rox's initial actions were all pointed towards the world government. And while he did want to become the king of the world, at the end of the day, he still wanted to topple the regime that was in place. Dragon has this very same will, although it's not for those same selfish reasons. And can it really be called selfish to want to reclaim something that belonged to your family and was, from what we can imagine, wrongfully taken? That's a different conversation. But either way, Rox moved very much so like a revolutionary at the beginning, and that will of his has been inherited by Dragon, who bears his teeth directly at the world government and does not care about pirates at all. The fruit that Rox wants is definitely going to still come into play somehow, some way, but I believe if it was the Nika fruit, we would have been told that by now. I don't think there's much more mystery to keep around that devil fruit. Obviously, we need some Joy Boy stuff, but if that's the fruit that Rox wanted, it's no secret that Luffy is going to be the one to take down Emu, so his fruit being that one, I think we would have known by now. And it could be the Yami fruit, and the only reason he's hiding that is because it might have had a different name to rocks back then. It could have been like the Hitohitomi Maro Davy or whatever. But as we know, the D are said to bring a storm, and if there's going to be a devil fruit that is wholly representative of the D clan, the storm fruit itself that we theorize Dragon to have would be the perfect candidate. So Rocks wanting that fruit and Dragon getting that fruit would be really, really dope to me personally. Now this is where things get a little bit spicy, because I don't know if these are hot takes, but they are definitely some takes that I have about the strength of Rocks and how strong he is compared to his peers. So in relation to his biggest rivals, and I'm gonna say that's Roger and Garp, because Whitebeard was obviously in the running and he was right there, but him being Rock's subordinate just kind of takes him out of this conversation for me. I'm not saying he could have never been here, but for now we're gonna talk about the three that were kind of highlighted in that one chapter to be the leaders of this era: Rocks, Roger, and Garp. This is how you know Rocks was captivating, because people just threw Roger to the side, like that toy that Andy did, and like when he threw Woody to the side in Toy Story. People was like, we done with him. Rocks is the greatest, he's the strongest, Roger cannot even compare. And I can't blame them, because Roger, while I didn't have an issue with it, Roger's portrayal during that flashback was definitely not what we have believed Roger to be over the course of the years. But I look at it like this, and this is me being completely unbiased. During this era, Rocks was the top dog. He was the strongest of the three. It was Rocks' era. He was the most legendary pirate at that time. But it wasn't a wash. Rocks was stronger than Roger at this point, but he was still respected by him enough to be viewed as a rival and to eventually be asked for him to kill him. I think that they were relative. Actually, I think they were extremely relative, if not just 1A, 1B. But Roger's pirate career did not end at God Valley. Roxas did, at least from what we know so far. Roger went on to conquer the seas and he became the king of the pirates, and he undoubtedly got much stronger than he was at God Valley. Roger is the bar for piracy. He's the one that Luffy and only Luffy will surpass. But I don't look at this as disrespect to Rocks. Rocks was a monster and he was at the cream of the crop during his time. I just believe that after he passed away, Roger and Garp probably surpassed him, but I don't think anyone else did. I'm not going to just hand that out willy-nilly like, oh, a lot of people see the general old gen surpassed by the new gen thing that anime do all the time. And One Piece does it, but it doesn't do it in the way that most anime do. I think that the old generation was who it was, and it is still, to me, it's the highest bar of piracy we've seen so far. This middle generation, a lot of people assume that because it came after them, it has to have surpassed them. But I don't think it works that way, because this middle generation hasn't accomplished anything. There has not been a new king of the pirates. There has only been a deadlock Yonko system that's basically just sat around for about 30, 40 years, not doing much. For the new generation to surpass the old generation, it has to surpass it in accomplishments. And nobody has become the king of the pirates. Nobody has, even on the Marine side, a lot of people say Aki Inu, but Aki Inu is not stronger than Garp, bro. Come on, bro. Prime Garp is not happening. I think at best, this current generation, who is the Mihawk and Shanks generation I'm referring to, has maybe matched the peaks of Roger's era, but they have not surpassed them. The era that's going to surpass the old generation is Luffy's generation. It won't be something that's just, oh, everybody is now stronger than Roger. It's going to be a thing where, hey, it's a few. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like to throw Loki in there and say he's stronger than Roger and Rocks and everyone else, and it's just like, bro, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it. But I do want to talk about a lot of people giving these unofficial King of the Pirates titles to people like Harold and Rocks, who were probably the top of their era. I want to emphasize this. If Oda wanted us to call these people the King of the Pirates of their era, then Oda would have called them the King of the Pirates of their era. But he didn't. And there's a really specific reason for that. That title, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of, oh, it's not a strength goal, so it doesn't matter arguments in the comments, which are just asinine to me at best and really a lot worse than that on average. That title means a lot. It is what our protagonist has set out to see for from the very beginning. It is what the whole world of One Piece has heralded above all else. And if Oda wanted those guys to be looked at that way, he would have. But he never did. Let's stop forcing it a little bit. That tangent was not to disrespect Rocks in any way. Like I said, I don't think that anyone has surpassed Rocks since his era, but maybe Roger and Garp. And if you want to put Shanks and Mihawk up there, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I can't say I feel they're equal at best. Rocks is a legend. He's a monster. He's extremely strong, and he needs to have respect. But I do think we're getting a little bit out of hand with how far we're taking it. So if there's one panel or moment in One Piece that really stuck with me in my personal life, It was when Dr. Hiruluk was about to die, and he said a man doesn't die, when he's riddled with bullets or when he's stabbed with spears. A man dies when he's forgotten. This was something that I really clung to when my father passed away. And this most definitely rings true for Rox. Rox may be the most influential pirate of all time. Actually, I don't think it's close. His crewmates ruled the seas for decades, and now his son is about to make a play at the very dream that he couldn't accomplish himself. If not for him baring his teeth at the world government and going to God Valley knowing that it was a setup, then the world as we know it in One Piece would not exist. You can't over-exaggerate how many people were affected by the actions of Rox in this story. That's why I'm not mad when people consider him to be the greatest pirate ever. It's gonna be pretty hard to argue against that until we get like an extended flashback on Goldie Roger, because like I said, he was on his goon stuff in the God Valley flashback, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you got Rox out here looking like this, just by comparison, it's gonna look a little crazy. Either way, despite the efforts of the world to erase his existence, Rox's will has been inherited by so many people on the seas, and I have no doubt that we're gonna get a lot more from him in this story as far as in the form of flashback. I don't think he's coming back to life like some people say, man marked by flames. I don't agree with that. I think he's gone, and his death was that. Now, maybe a seraphim, but even still, no. Matter of fact, no, maybe a seraphim. He's done, but Rox is dead. If he's the man marked by a flame, I'll eat my words, but I don't think Rox is coming back anytime soon. But either way, that's all I got for y'all today, man. I just want to show a little love to Rox and really put out there, like, he's probably Oda's greatest post-time skip character, and that's saying a lot. I know a lot of people like that, like the pre-time skip is a lot better than post-time skip, which is probably something I need to make a video on, because sometimes we repeat things so much in the anime community and spaces that we start believing it, but that's just not true to me. And that's something that's gonna need a video. But either way, if you made it this far, of course, I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see y'all next time for sure. Peace out.